Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
All right, well today we're tackling something that I know can be a little bit intimidating for a lot of content creators.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about SEO. Specifically SEO for podcasts and videos.
I like it.
You know how everyone's always saying content is king.
Right.
Well, that might be true, but it doesn't mean much if nobody can find your content in the first place.
It's true.
I saw this crazy stat the other day. Apparently, something like 68% of people searching online never even look past the first page of search results.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal out there. Right?
Yeah, that's a tough statistic.
So today, we're going to dive deep into some really actionable strategies to make sure that your podcasts and videos aren't just, floating around in the digital void.
We want people to find them.
Exactly. I want people to find your content. So first things first, you got to have a killer title.
Of course.
And I don't just mean something catchy or clever, although that helps. We're talking about strategically using keywords that people are actually typing into those search bars.
That's so important.
I mean, think about it. If your title doesn't include the words that people are searching for, how's Google supposed to know what your podcast or video is even about?
It's not magic.
Right. So where do we even start?
Well, I think the first thing is to think about, like you said, what are people actually searching for? Not just general terms, but those longer, more specific phrases that we sometimes call long tail keywords.
I've heard that term. I don't know if I totally understand it.
Yeah. I mean, for example, instead of just how to improve your podcast, it might be something like best microphones for podcasters on a budget in 2025.
Okay, much more specific.
Much more specific, and what's great about that is while the search volume for those longer phrases might be a bit lower individually, the people who are searching for those very specific things are usually much more ready to take action.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. They've already done some of the research, they know what they want, and they're more likely to convert.
That makes sense. So it's almost like you're targeting people who are further down the funnel.
Exactly. And for your title, that kind of specificity really tells both the search engine and the potential listener or viewer that you really understand their needs.
Okay, so that's titles.
Yeah.
What about descriptions?
Oh, descriptions are super important too, because, your title's like a quick, hey, look at me. But the description gives you a little bit more space to actually pitch your content to both the search engine and the human.
Okay.
So you still want to use keywords strategically, but again, think of it like you're explaining your podcast to a friend.
Not just a list of keywords.
No, not at all. Make it sound natural, keep it engaging, and use that space to highlight what makes your content unique.
So it's all about finding that balance.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Between using enough keywords to get noticed, but not so many that it sounds like a robot wrote it.
Exactly. And, thankfully, search engines are getting a lot smarter these days.
Oh, good.
So they're not just looking for exact keyword matches. They're actually analyzing the whole context and meaning of your content.
That makes sense.
So yeah, you do need to use those keywords, but don't be afraid to mix it up with related terms, synonyms, make it flow naturally.
It's funny because I remember when I first started creating content online, I was obsessed with keyword stuffing.
Yeah, we've all been there.
I thought the more the better.
Yeah.
And then I quickly learned that Google is not a fan of that strategy.
No, they're not.
All right, so we've got our title, we've got our description.
Yes.
What about those things that I think a lot of people kind of overlook?
What's that?
Subtitles and transcripts.
Oh, those are so important.
I know people think of them as, an accessibility feature, which of course they are, but they're also amazing for SEO.
Right. I mean, think about it. Google can't actually listen to your podcast.
Right.
Or watch your video.
No, of course not.
So, providing a text-based version of your content, whether it's subtitles or a full transcript, gives those search engines something to actually crawl and index.
So it's like you're creating a written map of your content.
Exactly. And don't just settle for those auto-generated captions.
Oh yeah, those can be rough.
They can be pretty rough. Take some time to edit them, optimize them, maybe even add some headings and break up the text a little bit to make it easier to read.
Digestible.
Exactly. And, you can even strategically sprinkle in those keywords in a natural way, of course, within your transcript.
Okay, so it seems like there's a theme emerging here.
What's that?
It's all about thinking like a search engine.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
Anticipating what people are searching for, and then making sure that your content is structured in a way that search engines can understand.
Absolutely. And, the cool thing about that is If you're thinking like a search engine, you're probably also thinking more like your audience as well, which is, of course, the ultimate goal.
Right, because we want to make it easy for people to find our content, but then we also want to make sure that they actually want to stick around and listen or watch.
Exactly.
And that's something I think is really important to remember, especially for those of us who are kind of, type A personalities.
Okay.
We get really focused on all the technical stuff, all the strategies, all the to-do lists.
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming.
It can feel overwhelming. We forget that at the end of the day, SEO is not some magic trick.
No.
It's really just about creating valuable content that people actually want to consume.
Couldn't agree more. You can have the best SEO in the world, but if your content isn't engaging, people aren't going to stick around.
You can lead a horse to water.
Exactly, but you can't make it drink.
You can't make it drink.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a good place to wrap up, but with a little bit of a challenge for our listeners.
I like it.
So yes, absolutely, focus on your SEO, get all those technical things in order, but don't forget the human side of it.
Yeah.
What makes your content unique? What story are you telling?
That's it.
What value are you bringing to your audience? Those are the things that are going to keep people coming back for more, even after they find you through that perfectly optimized search result.
Exactly. And that's the fun part.
That's the fun part.
It is. That's the creative part, right?
So there you have it. That's our deep dive into the world of podcasts and video SEO.
A deep dive indeed.
We hope you found it helpful. Now go forth and create amazing content that the world will actually see
And hear.
and hear.
Let's do it.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.